Okay. Hello, my name is Shane Brody. I've been traveling around the country talking to trans, intersex, non-binary, agendered, gender non-conforming, etc. people under the big trans umbrella of identities. And I myself am a trans man. I started transitioning in the mid to late 90s. And I've been traveling around the country doing this project, and it's been a lot of fun. And I'm here with a guest, and they're going to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Ash. I'm transmasculine-leaning, agender. I've been transitioning since 2021, and I've been helping other people by discussing myself.
Okay. And when you say you've been transitioning since 2021, what does that mean to you?
I have been on testosterone since 2021. I have been discovering myself and coming into myself as a person I want to be.
Okay. All right. And do you have some community around that? Are you part of a trans community?
I'm working on that. I have started making new friends around Denver and speaking to new people, and putting myself out there to create that community I want.
Yeah. You seem like maybe a little bit of a shyer person. Is that true?
No, I think I had a hard time because I actually had to cut all my friends and family out of my life.
Oh.
Because of addiction.
Okay.
So it took a while, and now I'm kind of moving back into having that community I want.
Okay, so you're kind of rebuilding your life after that. Okay.
Yes.
All right. And was that your own addiction issue?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was struggling with addiction, and I come from a background of being around addicts and addiction. Yes.
Okay. So you were talking about addiction issues. Did you go into a treatment program for that?
No,
Okay.
I quit cold turkey.
Okay. Wow, that's very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have adequate health care at that time? Did you have access to health care?
I did have access to health care. I don't think I was using it as well as I could have been.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Sometimes these systems that we're in, whether it's medical care or accessing social welfare programs or something like that, it requires a high level of competency, a high level of skills in order to even access things, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have actually been helping a few people access resources that they otherwise might not know about.
Yeah, right.
Like getting around on buses or getting to the food stamp office or anything like that. I know I have been able to gather them resources because my mom taught me, and people helped me in Denver. Otherwise, I would not have known those resources because I am not originally from the Denver area.
Right.
So,
Okay, where are you from?
Yuma, Colorado, out on the northeastern plains.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, wow. Okay, so that's more towards Nebraska.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's not far from there
Yeah.
at all.
Are there like a lot of cattle and that sort of thing out there? Yeah.
Yes, it's a completely different view out there from here.
Yeah, yeah. Denver is ringed by mountains. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't see the mountains at all from Yuma.
Yeah. That's cool. That you're kind of like almost doing social work with your peers and helping them access resources. That's really cool.
I'm paying it forward for people who helped me.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And that's extra. That's really extra cool too, because you yourself have a lot of challenges.
Yes.
It sounds like, and then on top of that, you're helping people around you. That's really great. That's really difficult activism too.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Are you on government disability possibly?
Yes, I am.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad for that. I know it's very difficult to get on that.
I had been on it in 2009, lost it because I went to jail, and then from 2012 to 2018 had been fighting to get it back.
6 years?
Yes, and I know
goodness.
people who applied for the first time that took 10 years to get it.
What?
Yes.
Wow. I had some friends, like in the 90s, who had applied for disability, and it only took a couple of years. Usually required some lawyer intervention as well. But 6 to 10 years? That's crazy.
And their stuff is getting backed up.
Oh.
Because more people are applying because of COVID and things like that. So
right. Because we had a pandemic.
With the backup, it's just making it longer for people to get through.
Right. And I think that's sometimes an excuse, too. Like, up in Alaska, we have a very so-called libertarian governor, and he loves to cut social programs, and he loves to cut staff. Hi, Cooper. How's it going? So, in doing so, it creates a backup.
Yeah, I let people know. My spouse is trying to apply, and it's definitely, I think, designed for you to fail at some point.
Right.
Because of the process, and like the first time you apply, you will pretty much automatically get a denial.
Right.
And so you have to keep pushing on. And one of the things is when you get that denial letter, they have the suicide hotline number on there. So it's just a mess. I'm actually mentally disabled. And that was a lot of hard work to prove that, especially being homeless.
Right.
Because I had to miss, like, lunches and stuff like that to go to my appointments, to keep letting them know, like, hey, I'm doing what I need to prove to you that I am disabled.
Right. Those meal programs are not flexible.
No.
You get in line and that's it. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Wow. That's such a trial. And even just to get that initial paperwork in sounds like it's a big deal, because you have to have kind of like this mass of medical history behind you to do that.
I've been in therapy and stuff like that since the age of 15 at least.
Okay.
So.
Well, good. I'm glad that you're able to access that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you find that that's helpful?
Yes. That's like one of our only sources of income right now.
Okay.
And
is being on disability. Yeah.
Yeah, and my spouse is on A&D, which is the aid for needy and disabled, and that helps you until you get your disability.
Okay.
That's a whole another thing within itself.
Okay. Is that federal or state?
I'm not sure on that, actually. I know I've been able to get on it before I got mine, so I'm not sure about that.
Wow. I'm just amazed at how much work people have to do to access these programs, because you're already having so much difficulty, right? I mean, it's not like people want to be on disability.
No.
Right. It's not some luxurious lifestyle. Right?
No.
And then you have to put in all this work, and they could just say no and no over and over.
I got denied so many times until I was able to go in front of a judge and then show the judge that, like, look, my lawyer that I had actually quit on me.
Oh.
And said I wasn't going to be able to get it.
Oh, no.
So I ended up having to fight for myself with all that.
Wow. Yeah, self-advocacy is very difficult. Do you know of any trans organizations or LGBT organizations that help with that, by the way?
Yes. Bread and Love, I believe it's called. My therapist had told me about it. Is an organization with LGBT lawyers.
Oh, great.
Or like that help LGBT people. Right now, they're working on a bill that just got passed through the Senate. They were working on it to have felons be able to change their name, transgender felons.
Oh, great.
That's something I'm excited for.
Yeah.
'Cause I am a felon. And then there's the Center Downtown, which is another organization, and
on Colfax, right?
Yep, and the Transgender Center of the Rockies is another organization that helps.
Great.
Yeah.
What other organizations do you know about that have been helpful in your life? Like LGBT ones, or gay ones, or queer, or trans?
Um, they're not queer or trans, but I know that Movement 5280 has helped. One of my friends works in that.
Okay.
Um,
What kind of organization is that?
It helps feed people in need
Okay.
and get them clothing and stuff. And then also, there's this cafe in Littleton called Graceful. It is a pay what you eat cafe, and it's very community driven that I love to go to and meet new people.
Yeah, we were talking before the interview. I have also been to a place like that in Portland, Oregon, called Sisters of the Road Cafe. Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds a little bit similar.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful place to go to. I got invited as a guest to their fundraiser this next week.
Oh, great. So are you widely known as kind of this activist that helps other poor and disabled people in the community?
I'm getting to be known like that. I think something that's really helped push me to be that is not only the people that helped me, but when I was homeless, I met this little old lady who I had slept next to in shelters, and she told me that I was going to be leading a war one day. And I think this is my way of stepping up and leading other disabled folk and LGBT folk and getting them resources or whatever they might not know how to get.
Yeah, and sometimes programs look good on paper or on the website, but actually getting in them is a whole other thing.
And sometimes they're not what they are saying they are.
Can you give an example of that without maybe mentioning a name, but like what you're talking about?
Like, one of them is definitely for like LGBT folk and stuff, but you cannot talk about politics. One of the things I had brought up in a group was I cannot change my name on my ID because of being a felon. Because they were talking about IDs and stuff like that at the time, and they said
were they helping trans people change their identification? Or?
No, they were just discussing it in one of the groups, and they said that was political and I couldn't talk about it.
Okay, well, it's political, but there's very few things out in the world in society that are not political in some way.
Being a transgender, disabled person of color makes me inherently very political.
That's right. Everything about you. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, totally. What are your pins here, by the way? You have a lot of things
I
going on
have
here.
my pronoun pin. It's the he/they pin.
Yeah.
And then this is the trans mask flag pin.
Oh, I didn't even know one existed. It's kind of glittery.
Yep. I actually ordered it off Etsy from a local company here.
Okay.
And then my friend made this Mexican skull. It's all the way from Mexico for me.
Okay. Kind of like those sugar skulls, but it's with a rainbow motif.
Yep. And they made it on a necklace so that way I didn't have to wear metal because I'm allergic to most metals.
Oh yeah, I have problems with some metals too. Yeah. When I was younger and I tried to wear earrings, I would get reactions a lot.
Yeah, I get rashes.
Yeah, or wearing a belt with a buckle, I will get a little rash there as well.
I have wanted to wear like jewelry and have face jewelry and stuff, but it's too risky. So.
Yeah, right.
I have tattoos and want to get more.
Okay.
Eventually, though.
Great. Yeah. What kind of tattoos do you have?
I have one. It's a zombie, a white rabbit holding a cracked clock.
Okay.
Because I don't plan on having children.
Okay.
I have birth control, and I also am on testosterone, so my clock broke.
Okay.
And the white rabbit originally represents, your period and stuff like that.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
The time of the month. So it's broke because I don't want to have children. And
yeah. Well, it sounds like you're raising a different kind of community around you, though. Instead of kids, you're helping other people around you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's not that I don't like kids. It's not that at all. It's just I don't have the energy, and I don't have the patience, and I know that about myself.
Sure.
To be having children.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't have the money either.
Yeah. Me as well. When I was younger, both me and my brother actually made the decision independently that both of us in our lives we were not going to have kids.
I told my mom since like the age of 16 or something that do not expect grandkids from me.
Oh, that must be hard.
No, she has my brother's grandkids.
Okay, there you go.
That's enough for her.
Speaking of being a person of color, what is your ethnic background, by the way?
I don't know.
Okay.
I know my mom was, I don't know if it was her boyfriend, but we each have a different dad, me and my two brothers. Mm-hmm. My dad was Hispanic or Native or both, and my mom is white.
Okay.
I grew up with her and my two brothers, and I grew up in a white family, not with my dad.
Okay.
My other brother is also mixed with Mexican and stuff, but he looks more like my mom than his dad. I took after my dad a lot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Looked nothing like my mom.
Okay. That must be interesting.
It was, actually. Yeah.
I've heard that sometimes in issue.
My grandparents didn't want to hold me as a child, as a baby, because of that. They were mad at my mom.
Oh my God.
They're like second generation from Germany.
Okay.
And that's not saying anything on Germany, but no, they come from that. And my mom had made a racist remark or two around me, and
that's so terrible to have it within your family.
Yeah,
it's so deep. I mean,
that, and then like seeing how my brothers were treated in like schools and stuff compared to me, it's like I didn't realize it at the time, but since I've had time to reflect and stuff, it has really came to my attention of how differently I had been treated.
Yeah, because of your skin tone, even though you're siblings.
Yeah, a lot of people actually thought I was adopted into the family.
Yeah.
Yeah, and or they were just watching over me or something.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought it was funny when I was a child, and it was like, oh, you know. And even my spouse didn't expect me to not look anything like my mom. I had brought it up to them, and when he saw us side by side, it was like a shock.
Wow. Yeah. You must look much different from her also because of testosterone, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably changed you a lot.
The only thing I have really in common with my mom is my hair being straight.
Okay.
But other than that, maybe the lips, but I don't remember what she looks like as much. I haven't talked to her in years, but I do know that I don't really talk to her.
Yeah. I don't talk to my family either.
She ended up, I think just, I thought she had changed. She ended up still gaslighting us with some stuff. And it's okay. It's becoming more normal and more accepted to not talk to your family. Yeah. Especially if they are toxic.
Yeah, if they're abusive, fuck them.
Yeah.
You don't need to put up with that.
One thing I tell people when I talk to people about that is your parent could say they did their best, and you could say that their best was not enough.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How do you deal with that? Because that sounds like it would be really, really painful, especially like the racist remarks and that sort of thing. Like, how do you deal with that?
I've been letting myself feel what I need to feel. I haven't been trying to stuff my feelings down or pretend it doesn't exist. I talk about it with others, and I talk about... I've been in therapy for a long time, talking about it with my therapist. Yeah. And I've come to accept it. And I also know I don't have to forgive, and I don't have to forget.
Yeah.
Either.
Right. Yeah, there's such an impulse in our society to like forgive and forget, and I don't believe in that at all.
No.
You know, you decide whether you're going to do that or not. Yeah.
Yeah, like turn the other cheek. It's like no.
No.
They hurt me very badly, and I don't have to turn that cheek
Right.
and pretend it didn't exist.
Right.
That's how generational trauma happens.
Right. Yeah, and then you'll just keep carrying it with you. You know. Yeah. That must be hard too, because we live in a society in general that's white supremacist. So I'm imagining that, you know, maybe you're out in the world, you're also maybe exposed to some racism, I would imagine.
Not really.
No? Okay. Great.
No, I think the community around here, they just leave me alone mostly.
Okay.
And I know some people that say hi and stuff.
Okay. Do you get along with your neighbors pretty well then? Or
I don't know them
Okay.
as much as I should.
okay.
I kind of stay to myself, but I do go out and go grocery shopping and go to Graceful. But people I do pass by, say hi to me, or just leave me alone.
Okay. Okay. Do you have other sorts of communities, like let's say with a church community or any kind of religious community?
No, I'm not
Okay.
religious at
Okay.
all.
Okay. So we took a little break, and I asked where should we go with this interview. And you were mentioning about your past not defining you now. Can you go into more detail about that?
I have a very rocky past, and there's a lot of discourse around if once an abuser, once whatever, you can't change. You're always X whatever.
Right.
And
Yeah, you mentioned going to prison at some point.
yeah, I have a few assaults on my record in the DV. They each have their own story.
Sure.
And I also have a traumatic past. It doesn't really excuse what I did.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it. Yeah.
And also, over the past 8 or so years, I have gotten off of meth. I was addicted to that.
Wow.
I
Wow.
have really worked with therapy and my case managers to get to the point where I am with my mental health
Yeah.
and being able to help others.
Wow, that's amazing. I've heard that meth is really difficult to kick, and it is everywhere too. It is literally everywhere.
It did not do to me what it does to other people because I have ADHD. At the same time, I come from a family who has sold, distributed, and been addicted to it themselves.
Yeah.
So coming from that background, I was already like in a place where the odds were
Yeah.
not in my favor.
Yeah,
And
you were
then-
kind of primed to get into that life. Yeah.
And then when I became homeless, after being in prison, with the street sweeps and the homeless sweeps here in Denver and stuff, it was hard to, want to sleep. And that's the one thing that led to doing that.
Oh, I see. Okay. So it was kind of almost a protection for you. So you were keeping yourself up so you wouldn't get caught in this police contact,
Yeah.
basically. Wow. Oh, God. Jeez. Goodness gracious. Yeah, I'm sorry. Goodness gracious. So, were there any programs here in Denver that maybe reached out to you or were recommended to you as sort of bridges to leaving prison life and then coming out?
Yes, actually, when I was getting ready to leave, they help you with resources to try to get to. They gave me a bus ticket, and I was able to come downtown. Some of them resources were no longer there.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that... Oh, that's such an infamous thing. I recently got on Medicaid, and they were like, oh, yeah, you could just find a doctor. I was like... I called so many of them, and they were like, retired, or not taking new patients, or just not taking Medicaid. And I was like, goodness gracious.
Denver Health is actually really good for
Oh, is it?
transgender people. And
Okay.
stuff. Yeah.
I'm in UC Health currently, and they're
Oh,
pretty
they're good, too.
Yeah. But it's interesting how like social workers or whomever will give you lists like these pieces of paper or links, and they just don't work. It's
Yeah.
just frustrating.
Other than that, no. I actually left with my clothes on my back that I had, and that bus ticket, and I knew to ask, how do I get downtown?
Okay.
And from there, I asked, like, how do I get to this place? And got pointed to the right
Why
places.
downtown in particular?
Because it had a lot more resources.
Okay.
There's a lot of... There at that time, there was
Yeah.
a lot of resources that I could utilize.
One thing that I find that's frustrating about that, though, is sometimes downtown areas can be a little bit more dangerous,
Yeah.
right? There's a lot more going on. It can be very hectic, even if it's not dangerous. So if you're somebody who's maybe susceptible to some things like drug use or anxiety or whatever, that can be a very difficult environment to put yourself into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my way of life for a few years, is being downtown.
Yeah.
And being, just being in the thick of it. Like, I knew downtown like the back of my hand.
Yeah.
And now I don't remember how to get around downtown.
Okay.
But
Interesting. So was there some violence involved there? Like,
I was actually I was with someone for a long time, and we were both very abusive to each other.
Okay.
The big reason I think I stayed with them is because they were also helping me survive being down there, knowing what places to go to get like backpacks, or during winter to get the sleeping bags, what feeds to go to, how to get to certain places.
Yeah, right. So it was almost like you're caught in the relationship because it helped you in some ways.
And I also like thought I had loved that person, because abuse is very complex.
Yeah, it is.
And my mom was in abusive relationships growing up, and I think just when you grow up and it's just your normal, you go for that.
Right. It's what you're used to.
Sometimes it had gotten physical on both parts. We were both addicted to meth, and we both drank, addicted to alcohol. And at some point, I had started getting addicted to weed as well, which is actually very, you can have that happen.
Yeah.
I had to quit because I was starting to have seizures every time I smoked.
Oh my goodness. I knew an older woman who she went to a dispensary in a different state, and she asked for something very mild because she was older and that's what she was used to from the 60s. I mean, that's a joke, but it's not really a joke because the strains they have now are so powerful. She actually had projectile vomiting from that, so it affected her brain.
Oh, yeah. I actually have this discourse with my case managers and my therapist about how weed, there's not a lot of studies, and there hasn't been able to be studies with it until relatively recently.
Right. Because people are open about their use now. Yeah.
I've met other people who had started getting seizures because of smoking. I know I met someone who had become allergic to it. And I think one of the things that isn't discussed is the potency keeps you coming to the store.
Yeah. Keeps going up and up and up.
If you think about tolerance breaks, because people take tolerance breaks so that they can get back to getting high.
Sure.
And, it needs to be more regulated. And them keep increasing it. They are being predatory with that. With people who can get addicted to it, and so they keep coming.
I agree. I was so pissed off at the people who worked at that dispensary because they basically lied to my friend,
I had my medical card, and I had never been to a dispensary that did not have THC with their CBD.
Yeah.
And the thing is, people talk about how weed is supposed to prevent seizures. No, that is it Charlotte's Web? I can't remember the actual name. But every weed strain is different, and there's a point where we're at a point where some of the dispensaries don't know even what strains they're mixing or putting out.
I see.
And my spouse worked in trimming for Livewell, and they were using moldy weed and just had you cut off the mold and selling it that way.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's a lot.
That can cause all kinds of problems too. That like neurological as well as allergies as well. Yeah, goodness gracious. At what point did you, because what you're describing here is very very difficult. Like I can't even imagine being able to survive that and to thrive afterwards. Frankly, I mean, it sounds really really hard. At what point were you able to leave that, or what kind of broke you away from that? Because to get out of homelessness as well is very difficult, and then there's all these other things going on.
I signed up for everything I could.
Okay.
And I got lucky/blessed, I don't know, that I was able to get into this housing. It's through the Colorado Coalition for the Homeless.
Okay, great.
Thank
you.
The person I was with actually told me, put your name on everything.
Yeah.
And
I noticed though that some of the wait lists, they aren't even taking names anymore.
No, the coalition is actually at 40% staffing. So, it's been a difficult there because it's just been a revolving door of case managers. It's been difficult to find people who will stay there a long time.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's a slightly different issue, but that's also a very important issue, like the burnout and the turnover.
That's also plays into why the wait lists are shorter.
Oh, really?
Because if you don't have the staff, or if people are leaving, you don't have the time to be able to get people in housing or the staffing to help people find housing.
Right. And, social work is, it's social. It's about relationship, right?
Yeah.
You get to know the person, you get to know their challenges, and then you figure out what resources you can they can access. And if there's no consistency with that, kind of like with medical care too, very similar, then it's all chalked up, and you have to reestablish with a new person and then a new person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can see what you're saying now. Okay.
And then that person was living with me in here for a little while, and I had gotten the domestic violence charge here. I got out and got on probation for like 4 years. I got off early, and then that person just was done with me because and I decided I'm just done with everything. So
it took that relationship failing. Okay.
And I contacted my spouse. We had known each other being homeless, and they just really helped me get through everything. It took a lot of work for us to be where we're at, but just took that one thing that broke everything, and I was done with meth. I was done with everybody, and cut all my friends off.
Right.
And that was really hard to do. I deleted my Facebook and everything.
Wow. Yeah, so if you're, I don't know if it's right to call it a lifestyle, but if you're within that sort of culture or of addiction, or I don't know how to even say it without sounding...
It is a lifestyle.
I don't know how to say it without sounding like an asshole, but...
It is a lifestyle, though. Okay. Anything you do is a style of life. Like being around meth and stuff, that's a whole community.
Right. So to get out of it, you have to just extricate yourself.
Yep.
That's it. No more. Okay.
Yep.
So it's not just the drug, it's everything around
it.
Yeah,
because the temptation will always be there.
Yeah.
If you don't get yourself out.
Right. And it is so prevalent. I stay at a lot of truck stops and rest stops because of traveling around, and I can smell it everywhere. Even the manufacture of it.
Yeah. I sometimes I still do have those cravings, and it's I get through it.
Yeah. How do you do that? Like some sort of emotional regulation from therapy?
I discuss it with my spouse, and I let them know, and they help me kind of get through that get through those cravings.
Right, right. So there's no shame about it, or
no, I actually I'm trying to normalize talking about it and what it does.
Yeah, I love it too. That I don't know if this has to do with meth. Sorry about my ignorance. But a lot of people now are starting to carry Narcan, which is an antagonist to some drug use and abuse. Like if somebody overdoses, is that part of meth? Like, does that help with meth, or?
I think that's more fentanyl, but I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
I haven't been in that community in a long time.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
But it does save lives. Having Narcan does save lives.
A lot of people are getting trained for that. Some churches are helping, like their membership, get some training. I've seen even some kiosks, some vending machines with it. You can just get it out of the vending machine for free. And it works. So I guess that's for fentanyl. I don't know anything about fentanyl.
Oh no, that is a very dangerous drug.
Is that an opioid, or what is that?
Is that an opioid? Fentanyl? They're looking through their phone.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
No, but
I'm glad that there's an antagonist to it, or antidote.
And I think we don't know enough about it right now. It can't meth can be dangerous. Heroin can be dangerous.
Right. And like you're saying, sometimes marijuana can.
Yeah, and I think I was actually having a discussion with my case manager, and they're like, "Why do they keep doing this?" And I told her it's like to get people addicted. To get people addicted and keep giving them money. Even with meth back in the day is like there's don't do it even once, not even once. Right. Those commercials, and that's true.
Yeah. I when I was younger, I had some friends who had been addicted to heroin, and it's very similar. Like if you do it once, then it's like something, I guess, kind of changes in you, and you just really, that's all you want.
Being homeless, it's really hard to kick because you don't have the support where you can be able to come down in a safe space.
Are you talking about like medical support, or
not just medical
just
support,
being
but resting or having a place? So you just keep doing it because the come down is harder than just doing it.
Right, and it's also it sounds like a coping mechanism.
Yeah,
because you were saying that you needed to stay up at night so you wouldn't have police contact.
And there's some points where you do it just so you don't feel
Right, you're just numbed out. Yeah, I know that from alcohol. I've abused alcohol in the past, and there were reasons for that. I had my reasons as well, but sometimes the coping skill becomes more of a problem than anything that spurred that. You're developing the coping skill.
I don't know if you listen to rap or hip hop.
Not really.
Jelly Roll actually spoke in front of, I think, the Senate or judges about fentanyl and how it's affected him.
Okay. Is that a rapper?
Yeah, I think he's assigned to Strange Music, Tech Nine's label.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I listen to more like 50s bebop and stuff like that.
I listen to
old music.
Everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like old country as well. But
old country is nice to listen to
cool?
sometimes.
Yeah. I don't really get into much modern music, but yeah, I'm not that old, but I like older things for some reason. Okay, so how long did it take for you to, because it seems like things are kind of happening rapidly for you, right?
Yeah.
You get off of drugs and you're helping yourself, right, out of homelessness and out of all that. You're forming different communities. You're coming out as trans, even. How does that mix with this?
Well, when I was homeless, when I first became homeless, I was around transgender people.
Oh, really? Okay.
And the person I was with was transgender at this time, and when I was able to finally calm down and figure out who I was, I figured out that I'm not technically just trans. I'm a transmasculine-leaning agender.
Okay.
So I kind of figured out myself, and I even figured out I'm also asexual and came out as that, and being in a community that supports others with all that helped me.
Does having that extra language also help you? Like, because I know that some people have been developing a lot of different language around these identities. Did that help you? Like hearing these terms and then, oh, that could be me, something like that.
Yes, and I believe it helped older transgender people too, because you struggle with not knowing who you are. Like, I grew up wearing boys' clothes because hand-me-downs, and then just liked them as I was older. And
I would always steal my dad's shirts.
And the smell of a man's bathroom, I had always wanted in my bathroom. And now I have that with my colognes and my butter, oils, and stuff for my beard.
I was thinking the other smells, so...
Yeah, no, I should have. Okay. I should have led with that, but
because testosterone definitely changes how you smell, and your chemistry. And
I've been using butter, beard butter, and oil, and I actually splurged a tiny bit and got me a few clones.
Oh, excellent! Cool.
For the first time, but no, that's also.
It sounds like you're really taking kind of some pleasure in your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been a lot more confident and a lot happier than I was ever before taking testosterone.
Yeah. Okay. Great.